Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the top 15 best cool sports cars, whatever you want to call it, for less than $15,000. This is the next part of our 1K to 100K budget cars series, where we give you 15 cars under every single price range from 1K, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now today is obviously 15K, and the next will be 20, 25, 50, and then $100,000. But the gimmick in this series is that across all of these videos, there will be 0 duplicate cars. So if you're on a budget or whatever budget you're on, you could watch all the videos before that budget and that budget itself, obviously, and get a bunch of different cars to choose from. That's the whole point of the series. It's been pretty fun. And again, today we are on 15K. We're starting to get to the end of the series, man. We only have 20K, 25K, 50K, and 100K left to go until the series is done. And it's been fun. You guys seem to enjoy it as well, and it's always fun to do this. I feel like I should do this every year, you know what I mean? Just to update you guys on the markets and stuff like that. Nonetheless, media of the day is Rocket League. I play a ton of Rocket League. I'm a Diamond 2 in Rocket League. Gosh darn it. It's a fun game. Very, very fun game. I play it with my buddies all the time. I spent a lot of money on Rocket League cars because I'm addicted to collecting them all for some reason. And it's a great game. Go play it if you haven't already. It's great, but it'll also raise your cortisol to the max. So just be prepared for that. But without further ado, let's go right into it with the top 15 best cars that you could buy for less than $15,000. And coming in at the number 15 spot is, I'm going to be honest, a little bit of a cheat code, a tad bit of a cheat code. Any sport bike, in terms of the horsepower numbers and engine size and all that crap, obviously that depends on which bike you end up getting, but they're all rear-wheel drive, I guess, technically, because all the power goes to the rear wheel. Nonetheless, obviously, sport bikes are really fun. One of the fastest cars, or vehicles, I guess you could say, that you could buy for the price that they are. They're incredible bargain options if all you're looking for is strictly performance and going fast. However, at the end of the day, it's also worth mentioning that these aren't cars, and so that's why it's getting 15th place. And obviously, they're also very dangerous and extremely impractical. The most impractical vehicle, just plain and simply, out there. And also, I don't really like recommending sport bikes on my channel because I do have a little bit of a younger audience sometimes, and I just don't want to be that guy, you know what I mean? But they are obviously very fast. If all you're looking for is performance, and maybe a sport bike is what you should be thinking of, but just be careful, man. That's all I gotta say. And coming in at 14th place, these cars are so underrated. But they're underrated, but it kind of makes a little bit of sense why people don't like them that much. The Cadillac XLRs, they're pretty much C6 Corvettes, but without the LS, which is, you know, kind of the best part of the C6 Corvette. So they went down in history as a failure because of that. They come with a 4.6 liter V8 making 320 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. Plain and simple, the package that it is given is still a very fun package. It's a North Star V8 though, and those just tend to give people some problems, unfortunately. The LS would have been such a better substitute for the motor that they put in this car. This car would have been absolutely insane if it had that, but unfortunately it doesn't. Looks wise though, I think they are very slept on. And coming in at 13th place, you gotta make the SUV boys, you gotta make the off-road boys, you gotta make the 4x4 boys, whatever you want to call them. You gotta make them happy, obviously. So 13th place is going to be going to the Porsche Macan S. Now this is obviously going to be the first generation of the Porsche Macan. You're not buying like a new one, but it is the S, the sport trim, which is pretty good. The car comes with or SUV truck, whatever you want to call it, comes with a 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 making 340 horsepower, and it is, of course, 4x4. Now, it is obviously worth mentioning for an SUV. A lot of the times people are looking for strictly, you know, a reliable vehicle to get them from point A to point B on time. They're soccer mom cars most of the time, and these cars do tend to have some problems. A twin turbo German V6 is definitely not the best option out there for reliability, but they're really cool, and they're extremely luxurious, obviously, and they have a ton of space, and they're very practical. And coming in at 12th place, another vehicle that actually kind of fits that same everything I kind of said about the Porsche Macan applies to this one, the Audi A6 C7s. Yeah, the A6s I feel like are slept on in the car community. Everyone always talks about the A4s and the S4s, and nowadays the A5s and S5s because they're pretty much the exact same thing. But I feel like the A6s, the only ones people talk about are the RS6s, but the A6 is still a cool car. The car comes with a 3-liter supercharged V6 making 310 horsepower, and it is, of course, all-wheel drive, quattro all-wheel drive. If I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong here, so I do apologize if I am, but I believe that's the same motor that they put in the B8S4s, which is a great motor. Everyone likes those motors. They're pretty reliable, make good power. They're pretty good. Now, this car is very heavy. The performance is not going to be there, and when it does break, even though it is decently reliable, it's going to be an absolute nightmare to work on, so that's why it's not getting any higher than 12th place, but cool when it's running. And coming in at 11th place, the tuner boys. You gotta make the tuners, you gotta make the JDM boys happy. And I myself am a bit of a JDM boy, I'm not going to lie. 11th place is going to be going to the Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX 2G. We talked about the Mitsubishi Eclipse GT 2G a little while ago, but not the GSX. And the GSX is obviously the trim that pretty much everyone wants when talking about the Mitsubishi Eclipses. They come with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 210 horsepower, and they are all-wheel drive. For those who are new here and don't know that much about these vehicles, that is a 4G63, which is the same motor that they were putting in the Evos at the time. It's just a little bit watered down so that it wouldn't outperform the Evos, so the Evos could sell like hotcakes. But what that means is that these cars are literally pocket Evos. They're all-wheel drive with a 4G63 for under 15 grand. And they look incredible. I love the 2G Eclipse. I think they look beautiful. Great option for under 15K. Now, they're still a little bit overpriced in my opinion, but not bad. However, coming in at 10th place, if the last one didn't make the JDM boys happy, then this one absolutely will, because it's a true JDM car. Because coming in at 10th place is the Nissan Cefiro A31. Technically, I guess you could get it from a different country, but either way, if you live in America, you have to import this, so it is going to be an imported car. Most likely, if you're importing it, you're probably going to import it from Japan, so therefore, true JDM car, right-hand drive car, kind of cool. Car comes with a 2-liter inline-6, making 123 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. They are bigger sedans, though. 123 horsepower is not a lot. Plain and simple, the A31 Cefiro is not a race car. I just want to make that crystal clear. These are a cool JDM sedan that's going to be reliable and get you from point A to point B on time in style, and you're going to have obviously the drift clout and everything like that with it, but they are not like a chaser JZX100 in terms of like tuning potential. However, coming in at 9th place, another SUV to make, again, the good old-fashioned 4x4 overlanding boys happy. 9th place is the BMW X5 F15. This is the 2nd generation of the BMW X5. My buddy has one of these, and they're actually kind of cool cars, man. They're really luxurious, really comfortable on the inside, and they come with a pretty good motor too. They come with a 3-liter twin turbocharged inline-6, making 300 horsepower on the dot, and of course they are 4x4s. Also, that motor, for those who don't know, is the N54. The N54 is the same motor they were putting in the 335is, very legendary motors. Although, with that being said, the N54 is also legendary in a bad sense as well, because they are sort of known for their unreliability. They do have some reliability issues, and I feel like with an X5, with a SUV, I should say, you're sort of looking for reliability. So that's why it's not going to be any higher than 9th place, but it is a really cool one. And again, if you want to build up like a fast SUV, this is a pretty good option since it's got the N54. However, coming in at 8th place is gonna be going, of course, to the Audi TT 3rd generation. Now, you guys know I've never been the biggest fan of the Audi TTs in terms of how they look, but the 3rd gen is beautiful. I love it. It's the newest generation, by the way. I love how these things look. They look really aggressive in the front. The back end still, I think, needs a little bit of work, but the front is beautiful, and they are, at the end of the day, just a sports car. The car comes with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 228 horsepower, and it is, of course, all-wheel drive. It's fitted with that Quattro all-wheel drive. Now, I do believe you can get them in front-wheel drive as well. I don't see why you would do that, but you could. And this is obviously not like the TTS or the TTRS. Obviously, this is a base model TT, so it's not going to be the fastest car out there, but it is still a pretty quick. They're lightweight. They look good. They're Audis. Going to be a little bit annoying to work on because of that, but they're pretty cool cars. I'm pretty sure there might as well be an all-wheel drive Mark 7 GTI. But coming in at 7th place, y'all should have known there was going to be a gosh darn VQ. Although today is probably the last time we are going to be seeing a VQ on this budget series series here, because this is pretty much the most expensive VQ you could buy right now. The Infiniti Q60. The Infiniti Q60 is just, it's so cool. Such a cool looking car. The car comes with a 3.7 liter V6, making 330 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. They also do come with a 3-liter twin turbo V6. That's the same motor they were putting in the 400Zs or Nissan ZRZ34. It's the 400Z, gosh darn it. But I would recommend getting the VQ37. I just like them better, and they're more reliable. They're naturally aspirated. I like them. Nonetheless, the Q60 is obviously great. There's really no downsides to a Q60 besides, I guess, the fact that it's a coupe. And for under 15K, I guess it'll be a little bit sketchy because they're usually around like the 20 to 25K mark. So if you're buying one for under 15K, it might have higher mileage or something. But besides that, there's really no downside. As a matter of fact, we're officially at that part of the list where the rest of these cars really don't have any downside, because coming in at 6th place is going to be going to the Chevy Silverado 1500 K2XX. This is the, hold on, let me do the math real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4th generation Chevrolet Silverado, unless they don't count the first one, the like OBS one, as a Silverado. Some people don't. Nonetheless, you see it on screen now. They're nice trucks. They come with a 5.3 liter V8, making 355 horsepower, and they are, of course, 4x4. The Vortec V8 is iconic. It's reliable as hell. It gets the job done. The only thing that people do tend to talk about in terms of unreliability is the transmissions on these trucks. But then again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm pretty sure literally every single truck out there, people say the transmission is bad on this. The transmission transmission sucks on this one. I've never seen a single truck where somebody's like, the transmission on that truck is good. It just never happens. Full-size trucks, everyone always just complains about the transmissions, so I wouldn't take that too seriously. My buddies have owned these trucks multiple times, and they've never given them any problems. They look great. I like them a lot. But coming in at 5th place, plain and simple, just an awesome option. Even I, who am not a big fan of these, the Ford Mustang GT S197. This is specifically the facelift one. A little while ago in one of the earlier episodes of the budget car series, we did talk about the pre-facelift with the 4.6 liter V8. This is the facelift S197. This is the one that everybody actually likes, with of course the 5 liter V8 making 412 horsepower, and it is of course also rear wheel drive. 412 horsepower is insane. The motor's reliable. It can make a lot of power. It's a two-door coupe. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Mustangs out there. You guys know that. I'm a big Chevy guy. My dad raised me to be a Chevy guy, but I could put my biases to the side to admit that for under $15,000, an S197 Mustang GT facelift is an incredible option. It is, if you're going for strictly straight line speed, it's kind of hard to beat it. But not impossible, because there's obviously still 4 more options, in my opinion, that I think are better than the Mustang GT S197. 4th place is going to be going to the BMW 650i F13. My buddy actually just bought an M6 Grand Coupe, the F13s this generation. Golly gee, they are beautiful cars in person, literally gorgeous in person. The 650i comes with a 4.4 liter twin turbocharged V8 making 400 horsepower on the dot, and it is of course rear wheel drive. That sounds like an incredible package for under $15,000, and it is an incredible package for under $15,000, but the reason why they're under $15K in the first place is those motors do have a lot of reliability issues. These motors are sort of known for being ticking time bombs, and I really wanted to put this at like first place, literally, because I'm a BMW fanboy. I love BMWs. I love the F13. The 6 Series, I think, needs to make a hell of a comeback, because they was one of the coolest series of BMWs in my opinion. But again, the reliability, I can't put any higher. However, coming in at 3rd place, the 3rd best car that you could buy for less than $15,000 in the big 2.6, as long as you're a car guy, obviously, that enjoys cars, is going to be going to the Honda S2000. We're going to talk about the AP2 here, but it's even easier to find AP1s for less than 15 grand. So if that's what you want, well, you're in good luck. The AP2, on the other hand, comes with a 2.2 liter inline-4, making 237 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive. What is there to say about an S2000 that hasn't been said already? These cars are awesome. They look really good. They handle incredibly. They're a Honda, so they're going to be reliable as hell, while also being pretty good at building some power for dirt cheap. Everything, and they're easy as hell to work on. The parts for them are cheap as hell. Like, there's literally no downside to an S2000, besides, I guess, the fact that it's like a 2-door, 2-seater convertible. So it's like, it's not the most practical car out there, but I feel like you're probably not looking for practical if that's what you're watching this video for. However, coming in at 2nd place, the fact that these things are even under 15K is a little bit surprising in my opinion, honestly, but hey, I'm not complaining. The 2nd place is going to be going to the Chevy Camaro SS 5th generation. My dad has one of these. He has a 2011. And yeah, it boogies. These cars boogie, man. I don't care what anybody says. These cars are fast cars. They're so cool. And obviously they come with an LS, which is also just incredible. The car comes with a 6.2 liter V8 making 426 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. That's obviously the most amount of horsepower on this entire list, but not only that horsepower is coming from an LS, a lightweight motor that can build insane power, and it's going to do it extremely reliably as well. It's really, I mean, honestly, it's genuinely hard to beat this car for less than 50K. I don't know why more people don't talk about these as bargain options for making some dirt cheap power. They're just awesome, and they look good. Like, I don't see any downs. I guess the blind spots are like literally worse than a McLaren's, but besides that, I don't see any problems with it. But coming in at 1st place, and in my humble opinion, the best car that you could buy for less than $15,000 in 2026 is going to be going to the Subaru WRX Raptor. The previous generation of the WRX, the new one, obviously people don't really care for it too much yet. I feel like people are going to come around to that new generation though. Me personally, I already kind of did once people started painting the fenders a little bit and paint matching the fenders. I kind of liked it a little bit, but I feel like people need to give it some time. Nonetheless, the Raptor WRX comes with a 2-liter turbocharged flat 4 making 268 horsepower, and it is of course all-wheel drive. At this point in Subaru's history, they've fixed most of the head gasket issues on these cars. They don't have that problem that much anymore. They can build some dirt cheap power. They're going to do it reliably. The car's a sedan. It's all-wheel drive, so it's very practical as well. And it looks incredible. It's obviously a really fun handling car. There's tons of aftermarket support for it out there. You can modify it to the moon and back, and all those parts are going to be cheap. It's easy as hell to work on. There's really, honestly, for less than 15K, even if you're not a car guy, this is still something that I would at least think about buying. Like, it's just such a good idea. It really is. But for a car guy, it's almost a no-brainer in my opinion. And I'm somebody, you guys know, I'm somebody who doesn't really care for WRXs because I'm a little bit burnt out on them since I see them all the time up in Connecticut. Everyone buys these when they want to go buy like a sports car because we have winter, and so these are like the best option. And so I see them all the time, so I'm burnt out on them. I'm not even the biggest fan of WRXs, and even I can admit that this is, in my opinion, the best car for less than 15K for a car guy in 2026. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video on the top 15 best cars that you could buy for less than $15,000 in 2026. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what reviews I'd see in the comment section down below. Check the links in the description for any of my social medias or any of my other YouTube channels or any of that great mumbo jumbo. And thank you guys so much for watching. Tomorrow's video is going to be on how to build the perfect, what is it? Yeah, Chrysler 300 first gen. How to build the perfect Chrysler 300 first generation. Then the video after that will obviously be the 15 best cars for less than 20K. And then after that, the next how to build is going to be on the... What's the next how to build on after? I remember what it... I had it in my mind, but I can't remember what it was now. I think it was a BMW. Oh, yeah, I think it was the E36. How to build the perfect BMW E36. I think that'll be the next how to build after the Chrysler 300. But I can't remember exactly. Obviously, I go off of recommendations with that series, so if anybody has any recommendations, I greatly appreciate it on that. And also, this series is also coming to an end, obviously, because we only have the 20K list, 25K list, 50K list, and 100K list left to do on this series, and then that'll be done. So any recommendations for cheap car videos you guys would like to see as well are also always welcome in the comment section below. But either way, that is the end of today's video, guys. That is the end of today's video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Today is like, dude, every time it's like rainy out and like cloudy and just miserable outside, my brain just like goes, my like ADHD just gets so bad. I don't know what it is. It's so weird. It's like, it's literally just like, you know how like people like weather can cause like depression and stuff like that. I feel like weather for me could cause bad ADHD. Like, I don't know what it is. I lose my train of thought so much on days like this. But either way, that is the end of today's video. I appreciate you guys for watching. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.